Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Today we're discussing Love Island the Game Volume 13. We have 1 week left of All Stars, which is including the final and maybe an after party. We're not quite sure yet, but I'm so excited to see what's going to happen. And boy, do I have a story for you. And it all starts off from where last episode left off. We start off with a girls' chat on the terrace, and Eddie pulls Iris to the pool. Like, he just comes up, he's eavesdropping on us, and he just has the audacity to take Iris away. This episode is full of grafting. This whole 3-parter is full of grafting. It looks like the boys are trying their best to settle down into those couples. And it is a really interesting series, actually, because this feels like one of the first times where there really hasn't been much in the way of coupling. Like, there's Kat and Lyle, but that's really it. And it's just it's a weird thing. Eddie then makes a play for Iris, and he's like, hey, you and I, brilliant couple, let's get together. And Iris is like, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And it's funny that he drags her to the pool, actually, in hindsight. We then get a text message and a talent show has been announced. It's another famous Love Island talent show. And wait till I tell you what everyone gets up to. Before the talent show, we do get dressed up with the girls, we have a bit of a chat, and then we head downstairs. We do get the option to pick what our talent is, and there are 3 different paid gem options. One of them is like extreme baton twirling, which is 17 gems. And then there are 2 other options. I can't remember what the second one was, but our one was painting, and then there was just keep it simple. None of the options could have felt like too out there, but I did really like that painting was an option, considering, hello, I sometimes paint, so we picked that one. But we weren't going to see this for a while, because for now we were going to the fire pit where a microphone was waiting for us. And actually, I think this is really cool, because I think it's one of the first times that we've seen the backgrounds like change up for the talent show. I might be wrong, it might be a recycled background, but I really like the fact that there was the microphone graphic out there. Kat and Callie are up first. They are singing, not in tune and not well, but they are singing, and they have a little girl band moment, which Natasha says that Kat sounds like a cat. And it doesn't seem like it's the best music, but what is nice is the fact that they got up and sung in front of everyone. I think that's really cool, and I think it should be commended. We then have Natasha, and I will say Natasha's talent was an interesting one. She showed off her dog training ability, and she did ask for a volunteer, and no one wanted to do it. So guess who steps up? Hamish. I'll let you watch this. Now it's time for some doggy training. Sit, Hamish. Hamish obediently sits while trying not to laugh and shake a paw. Like clockwork, gives Natasha his hand and she shakes it. What a good doggy. Is it weird that I actually quite like this? Hamish is into it. Hamish is into it. Uma then shows off her skills as a coxswain. If you don't know what a coxswain is, it's someone who stands on the back of a rowing boat and basically shouts instructions to the rowers. It's a very important job in sport and in rowing. The way, and I pointed this out in stream, the way I voice Uma is kind of like this, and kind of a bit hoarse and dusky and just like this kind of person. And the fact that she's out there going starboard, port, left, right, or whatever it is, however you row, I don't know. She did say, I wasn't paying attention to that, I'm sorry, but I do feel like it was really funny, the fact that she is a coxswain. I don't think the position of coxswain is funny apart from the name, but the fact that it was Uma did tickle me. We then have a go at painting, and it feels like the villa is really thinned out as well at this point. We got through everything really quickly, and we paint, we use some of the materials around the villa as well. Kat says she'd buy it. We've put soil and dirt and grass and flowers on the painting, and it seems like it was quite a hit, to be honest. Also, when we went to do the painting, we walked confidently over, and we were wearing this apron that Love Island described as very fitted to our shape, if you know what I mean. It's very svelte, it's very nice, and I just think that's such a strange description for an apron. It's then time for the boys' turn, and Stefan and Lyle do an air band, and they've of course named their air band Airband, and I feel like this is so familiar. I think you said in chat it was something that happened in season 4, but do correct me if I'm wrong. It just felt really similar, like we'd done it before. Zeph then went and sung, and that feels a little bit cheaty to me considering it's his career, but hey, if it's not something that you're winning a prize for, why not? Zeph, give us your private concert. And I think everyone really liked it. Everyone was really fawning over Zeph. Eddie also made a comment about how he doesn't know who Zeph is and was confused. I think Eddie's full of it, to be honest. I think he, of course, knew who Zeph was, but I did get a little bit of satisfaction out of Eddie showing up Zeph like that, I suppose. Finn then does a magic trick, and of course he chooses us as his little assistant. We choose a playing card. It's the Queen of Hearts, of course, especially as a callback to our costume a few weeks ago. We had a little Queen of Hearts moment and put it back in, and Finn had to guess what it was, and he picked King of Clubs. We didn't lie either. We did tell him it wasn't our card, but he took it like a champ. It was fine. Eddie then does his talent, and of course Kat absolutely deals a huge burn, which I think he does deserve. Eddie's talent as well is one of the most ridiculous things. He says he can predict the future. He says Natasha's going to get money in the next 2 or 3 weeks and then lose it all in one fell swoop. He says that Finn's never getting his magic trick right. I could have said that. He also said there was a boy who was messaging Eddie before they went into the villa saying he was only going to play a game. And I'm so glad that they decided to call Eddie out for this. The Islanders decided that that was the right thing to do. And I'm so glad, because why is he doing it twice? Of all things, like, do something else, dude. Choose a different path. But he does say that one of the boys was texting him saying he had a game plan before he went into the villa, blah, blah, blah. And he did say that person was Lyle. We do know that Eddie's MO at this point is to try and split as many people up as possible and to try really hard to make sure that he has a place in the final. But I will say he did not bring the drama this time round. So no, that's a bad thing from this season of Love Island, and he sort of dropped the ball. But I do think that it was nice because the Islanders were showing very clearly that they did not believe him, and that was very validating. We then get a text that says that the final recoupling is happening tonight, and we need to all prepare for that. We go to the beanbags, and Eddie tells everyone that there is more drama on the way. So everyone gets up and walks to the kitchen. Zeph then comes over and says he's going to take a shower if we want to join him, and good for him for shooting his shot. Why does he think he has the right to do that with us? I guess it's really good if you are playing the Zeph route, but for us, we weren't. We were just sort of coupled up with him, not really by choice, so that was a little bit strange, a little bit out of place for us. At the same time, Hamish comes over and invites us over to the daybed, and he says he has a gesture for us as well. So we have to pick between Zeph and Hamish. We picked Hamish, went to the daybed, had a bit of a conversation, and it turns out this gesture is worth 17 gems. We did choose it, and I was immediately worried. You see Lyle appear on the terrace. He smiles warmly as he looks down to you. He has something in his hands. He folds it a few times and lifts it into the air. Not a paper airplane. Not a paper airplane, please. We see Lyle on the terrace, and he shouts down to us and throws a paper airplane. A paper airplane! You know how the paper airplanes were treating us before? Back when Lyle tried to do a gesture for Kat? Surely this only spells disaster, right? But it was, in fact, really sweet. Everyone of the Islanders ended up, apart from Zeph, who was in the shower, ended up throwing the paper airplanes at Iris, who caught them, opened them, and read them. And there were some really nice comments from Hamish. I just thought it was so sweet. It was so lovely. And my initial skepticism really quickly turned into, oh my god, it is actually such a nice gesture, and I'm so glad he's done it. Hamish then says he has a question for us, and he's about to ask it when Zeph comes back from a shower and interrupts and leaves us in very awkward tension. That's the end of part 1. I will say I do have a criticism with part 1, which was when it opted for Zeph to go to the shower or Hamish to go to the daybed. It would have been really nice if we'd had an option to get that gesture from our female love interest if we were going down that way, because I think Kelly or Natasha could have very much pulled that off as well. Personally, it didn't affect my playthrough, but I think that would have been a really nice touch. As part 2 begins, we see Hamish, who decides to hold off on his all-important mysterious question. Zeph is also even more awkward, if that's possible. I don't think it is, but he manages it. And there's going to be a girls' night in as the boys go out to get ready, and we're going to find out more about that just shortly. We go to the dressing room, we get a new look, we get a new hair. It looks amazing. I'll leave it on screen, but I really like the way that this looks, and I think it's a really sweet outfit. There's also a little bit of tension in the dressing room between Kat and Uma, and we're not really sure A, where this has come from, or B, what's causing it, and we don't really find that out until much later. We get to talk to Uma in the kitchen and Kelly in the pool. They're both quite inconsequential chats and kind of just there to push time along. I suppose knows if you're interested in Kelly. I don't know if it would be with Kelly then. If you had that second chat with Kelly and you were going on the Kelly path, please let me know down below. Just as we finish talking to Kelly, we're on the lawn and we hear footsteps. And I think maybe there's gonna be a bombshell, because that is kind of what happens, right? At the end of the season, a new bombshell comes in, right? And it throws us and we have to decide what we're going for. Not this time, because Eddie comes back into the villa and he starts to spill some tea. So it turns out the boys didn't just go out of the villa to give the girls some headspace. They have gone out of the villa because they're going on a date with a mystery all-star. We find out that there are some very heavy things resting on this. If one of the boys likes her, he can immediately couple up with her and bring her back to the villa. And that's going to mean that one of the girls isn't going to couple up with the person that they're hoping to couple up with. One by one, the mysterious person is sending people back to the villa, and Eddie comes back first with a gem option, 29 gems to tell the whole truth about what's going on. Now, I will say, I didn't pay this, but apparently in this conversation, you were going to be able to find out at this point who the mysterious person was, and that Hamish was flirting with this girl. Excuse me? After that, we go to the beanbags with Natasha. We do have an option to maybe ignite some spice and say that maybe Natasha was the person that we were going for the whole time. But for better or for worse, we do not go for this option. The boys start to come back in the order as follows. It's Eddie, Stefan, Finn, and that leaves Lyle, Hamish, and Zeph, who are all talking to this mysterious person. When Lyle comes back and he gets with Kat in a very flirty nature, she ends up on his lap, I believe. He then drops the tea that the person who is back and the person they're on the date with is none other than Sienna. And if you don't remember who Sienna was, she was the person from Tempting Fate who we got to talk like this. Zeph comes back from the villa, which means that is only Hamish left with Sienna. So he is going to be the person making the decision as to whether Sienna is going to be his partner or not. And it's a really interesting conversation because I'm worried at this point that he's actually going to accept Sienna, of all people. But when Eddie knows that everyone apart from Hamish has come back, he makes a bedroom joke about how they've gone to the bedroom together, they're probably back already, and they're probably going for round 2. Iris doesn't stand for this, and instead, she does this. Seriously, Eddie, this charade isn't fooling anyone. Eddie jokingly puts his hands up in surrender. Uh-oh, cuff me. You just jealous because you got booted out from the date with Sienna. She understandably didn't want a piece of you, Eggy. Sounds like this girl's got some sense. Oh, burn. This is a lesson in pure roasting, Iris. Take it easy on me, Iris. Maybe learn to take a joke and not be such a sensitive Sally. I'm gonna push Eddie in the pool. Eddie, you look like you need some cooling off. Allow me to assist. In one slick motion, you push Eddie back into the pool, crashing into the water. He emerges a second later, shaking himself off. What the? Oh, I ironed this outfit specially, Iris. Oh, I'm sure there's more polyester where that came from, Eggy. Eddie climbs out of the pool and shakes off. Enjoy your dip, Eddie. Whatever. All the fan favorite boys get thrown into the pool like Suresh. I will take this second to just say that we started calling Eddie Eggy because I messed up and accidentally called him Eggy. So if you're confused as to why we suddenly start referring to him as Eggy or why there are so many eggs in chat, that's the reason. It's that. I hope that makes sense. Eddie then decides to come back from that and compare himself to Suresh, which is just really not the move. We all remember what Suresh was like. We then hear 2 sets of footsteps on the lawn, and that's where episode 2 ends. I actually really enjoyed these parts today. I think it was really good. I don't think there was much that happened that actually had like a strong meaning that like really meant something at this point, but what I do know, it was fun to play. Sometimes things don't have to have meaning, they don't have to be very profound, but I enjoyed them anyway. Episode 3 starts and we're about to find out if Sienna, as we called her, or Sienna is back, and if she has the same model, the same hair. It would be really interesting to see if they did her up. But Bella comes back with Hamish instead, and she's hosting. I was shocked. I really thought Bella was the bombshell. She's not. I really thought that Lyle had lied to us. He didn't. Hamish is back. He said nothing happened with Sienna, but him and Sienna had a lot to talk about because they have a very good mutual friend in common. Angie. Do you remember our Angie? I cannot believe she's friends with Sienna, of all people. We also found out that Angie got married. So if you did end up with Angie, you could have very well been married by now. It was really nice to hear that story as well. So I'm glad that Love Island the game decided to keep that in. At this point, Hamish tells us that he hasn't had his head turned, and he won't. He's in for good. He's into Iris. He did drop a bomb though that Zeph was constantly in that date telling Hamish and Sienna that they were really compatible, and it seems like a way for Zeph to drive a wedge between Iris and Hamish, possibly to get closer to Iris because he still hasn't let go either. That's a really snaky thing to do. Bella then announces we have one last grafting session, so we need to go and get dressed, which we do. We get dressed up. We go and speak to Zeph. We tell him no. We go and speak to Finn. We tell him no. We go and speak to Natasha and we tell her, no, but it was really mean and I'm really sad that I pressed this option. But we went up to Natasha and said, hey, how are you doing? And she said, I wasn't expecting you to come over and graft me. And we say, yeah, you're right, and leave. How brutal is that? I would have really liked to have those options with the other boys as well, because we had to go and speak to all of them. But we did finish the day with Hamish and having a conversation with him. And just before we were about to find out what Hamish's question was again, we had a notification that this was going to be the final recoupling. So we head to the fire pit. It's a bit tense. We've also somewhat found out at this point, I believe, that Kat and Uma are just having issues with each other because they don't really get on and they don't really see eye to eye. I feel like that was a little bit of getting drama just going, but let me know if I'm wrong. I would love to hear your point of view. Kat couples up with Lyle. We couple up with Hamish. I actually did a poll in chat to see who you think we should go with. 68% of people said Hamish. 22% said Natasha. There was a 5% vote for Zeph and a 2% vote for Finn, which I was very surprised by. But we did pick Hamish. Kelly coupled up with Zeph. Natasha coupled up with Stefan. Can't say I'm surprised, but I don't really have anything to say, to be fair on that one. It is what it is. And Uma chose to couple up with Finn, which means Eddie was sent packing. Literally, he went to pack. We have 10 gem option to show Kat and Lyle up. Kat's very convinced at this point that she and Lyle are gonna win the series, and we have a 10 gem option to go and snog Hamish, and we snog him. We do. We then get a surprise text that comes in saying to gather around the fire pit again because a couple is about to be dumped. At this point, we have said goodbye to Eddie officially. He's gone off. He's very much like, hey, let me just speak to you all and like show you that I actually am going to be missed. And we're just like, nah, not having it. Not having it at all. We're around the fire pit and our text message says that one couple is about to be dumped from the villa. That's not, we've just coupled up. How are we already about to be dumped? And I am worried that Iris and Hamish are on the list, but it turns out that even though there are two quite serious couples in the villa and two who are pretty much brand new to each other, he sent home Kat and Lyle. Let me know who they sent home for you though. We then have a 17 gem option to talk to Kat and see what she has to say about things and what is going on in the future. Now we don't take that option, but according to you in chat, if we did go for that option, Kat discloses that Hamish really wants to take us home to meet his family and go for din-dins, obviously. Just as we're about to finish the episode, we do say goodbye to Kat, which we don't go to the front door for. I guess it's because we've already gone for Eddie. So we say goodbye to Kat and Lyle and they head off into the happy ether. I don't know, we'll probably see him next week anyway. But we have the option to go to the hideaway. The hideaway is open, which by the way, Zeph is immediately like, yeah, it should be Hamish and Iris who go. And I think he agrees with Finn. I think Finn pitches it and Zeph immediately agrees. Zeph would never give up the option for one-on-one time. I find that very strange. So Hamish and Iris are voted to go into the hideaway. And the last line of Volume 13, Episode 3 is, will you go exclusive with me? From Hamish to Iris. Excuse me? We officially have been asked if we want to get exclusive or not with Hamish. It's only taken 13 episodes, 13 weeks to get to this point. To be fair, at the start, we probably didn't want to get exclusive with Hamish, but it is what it is. I hope you enjoyed this video, everyone. This was definitely a speed run for me. I'm going away for a week. And actually, at the time you watch this video, I am away at the moment. So fingers crossed that I'm having a great time. But thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I appreciate you all so much. It's an absolute pleasure to have you in my community. And the chats were so nice during the stream as well. I will make sure to keep the VOD up. So if you haven't seen that already, as always, we'll link it up here. I do have one very special shout out to give as well. Thank you so much to Tech, who became a channel member. That is absolutely amazing. I appreciate you all so much. And now officially you're on the member list. So thank you so much for becoming a channel member. And thank you so much to our amazing members as well. I say it every time, but it's so true. Wouldn't be able to make these videos without you. Thank you so much for taking a chance on me and the channel. And it's just an absolute pleasure to see you and get to know you. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to see more. I would love to have you there. Thank you so much for being a wonderful part of this community. And I will catch you tomorrow, Sunday, the 1st of September, for some Emily in Paris. I will see you soon. Goodbye.